What if I told you that building resilience in tough times isn't about pushing harder or gritting your teeth through pain? What if I said that there's a smarter, more effective way to handle life's challenges? One that the Stoics have been teaching us for thousands of years. The world often tells you to power through adversity, to never back down. But Stoicism shows us a different path, a way to face hardship not by fighting harder, but by thinking clearer. Imagine facing life's toughest moments with a calm, steady mind, no matter what's happening around you. Sound too good to be true? Stick with me, because in this video, I'm going to share 7 hidden Stoic habits that can transform the way you handle any storm life throws at you. We all face difficult moments in life, times when the world feels like it's working against us. Whether it's the pressure at work, a relationship that's falling apart, or just that nagging feeling that things aren't going the way we want them to, life has a way of testing our limits. But here's the thing, it's not the challenges we face, but how we respond to them that truly defines us. Every obstacle is an opportunity to grow, and that's where Stoicism comes in. Stoicism isn't just some ancient philosophy, it's a practical way to approach life's struggles, a toolkit for building emotional resilience when the going gets tough. The Stoics understood that we can't control everything around us, but we can control how we react. In this video, I'm going to show you 7 hidden Stoic habits, simple yet powerful practices that can help you handle any tough situation with a calm mind and a steady heart. These habits will not only help you survive life's challenges, but thrive in them. Now, I know life isn't always easy, and you've probably been through your fair share of hardship. But trust me, by the end of this video, you'll have some tools in your hands that will change the way you approach adversity. So, if you're ready to take control and build that emotional resilience, let's jump in. Before we jump into these powerful Stoic habits, I'd really appreciate it if you took a moment to like this video. Your support helps me spread the message of Stoicism and reach more people who could really benefit from it. It means a lot. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you do so and hit the bell icon. That way, you'll never miss a future video where we explore how Stoic wisdom can truly transform the way you handle life's challenges. So, if you're ready to build resilience and take control of your emotional well-being, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let's get started on this journey. Habit number 1. Living for external validation. Have you ever felt that rush of happiness when someone compliments you or approves of something you've done? It's natural to crave external validation. We all do it. But here's the catch. Constantly seeking approval from others can lead to unhappiness and frustration. Let's take a moment to reflect on something Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, once said: "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Now think about this. How often do you let someone's opinion dictate your sense of worth? Maybe it's your boss's feedback, or perhaps it's the number of likes on a social media post. But here's the problem. If you're relying on others for validation, you'll always be chasing something that's beyond your control. When you focus too much on what others think of you, you risk losing sight of what truly matters, your own values, actions, and inner peace. Imagine working tirelessly on a project you believe in, only to feel empty when the praise doesn't come, or worse, when criticism knocks you down. It's easy to get trapped in this cycle. The more you seek approval, the more vulnerable you become to rejection, failure, and judgment. Take Sarah, for example. Sarah is always striving to meet the expectations of her colleagues and friends. She adjusts her actions, choices, and even personality to please those around her. She wants to be liked, admired, and appreciated, but deep down, Sarah feels anxious and uncertain. Her happiness is tied to the fleeting approval of others. When that approval doesn't come, she feels lost and disappointed. What if Sarah started focusing on what really matters? What if she valued her own principles and decisions, regardless of others' opinions? This is where Stoicism comes in. Stoicism teaches us that true peace comes not from external factors, but from mastering our own mindset. It's about finding satisfaction within by focusing on what we can control, our own virtues and actions. When Marcus Aurelius spoke of the importance of quality thoughts, he was emphasizing the idea that your happiness shouldn't depend on outside forces. The Stoics understood that in life there will always be people who criticize you, reject you, or fail to acknowledge your worth. But what can you control? You can control how you respond, how you choose to act, and how you see yourself. Incorporating Stoic practices into your life means shifting your focus inward. Instead of relying on others' opinions, ask yourself, am I living in line with my values? Am I acting with integrity and purpose? The answer to those questions is the real source of happiness and resilience. So, next time you feel that urge to check your social media for approval or seek validation from others, pause and ask yourself, what do I think? What's truly important to me? When you start valuing your own perspective over external validation, you'll find a deeper sense of peace and satisfaction. Habit number 2, overthinking and dwelling on the past. Have you ever found yourself replaying a conversation over and over again in your head, wondering if you said the wrong thing or if you hurt someone's feelings? Or perhaps you've spent countless hours thinking about a decision you regret, wishing you could go back and change it. We've all been there, caught in the trap of overthinking and dwelling on past mistakes. But here's the truth. This habit can seriously harm your happiness and peace of mind. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This quote holds a deep lesson. While we can't change the past, we do have control over how we react to it. Let's think about that for a moment. Every time you replay that regretful conversation or overthink a decision you made years ago, you're wasting your energy. The past is gone. It's already done. What matters now is what you do today. Take Ahmed, for example. He had a falling out with a close friend over a misunderstanding, and ever since, he's been obsessing over what went wrong. He replays the argument in his mind, wondering if he could have said something differently. But with each passing day, the situation doesn't change. He's only hurting himself by reliving it over and over again. The truth is, Ahmed has no power over what happened in the past, but he does have control over his actions today. Think about it. When you spend your time focusing on past mistakes, you're letting them control you. You're allowing those moments to take up mental space when that energy could be spent focusing on what's in front of you. Life doesn't wait for you to resolve your past. It's happening now, and your future depends on how you choose to show up in the present. Overthinking also keeps you stuck. It prevents you from making decisions or taking action because you're paralyzed by the fear of making the same mistake again. The Stoics, however, encourage us to focus on the present moment. By doing so, we free ourselves from the chains of regret and worry. We shift our attention to what we can control, our actions, our thoughts, and our responses to what's happening around us. So, next time you find yourself dwelling on the past or overthinking a mistake, remember Epictetus's wisdom. Ask yourself, what can I do now in this moment to move forward? Instead of beating yourself up about things that can never be changed, focus on what you can do today to make progress, to learn, and to grow. By letting go of overthinking and focusing on the present, you'll find more clarity, peace, and happiness in your life. The past is no longer a weight holding you down. Instead, it becomes a stepping stone for a stronger, more resilient future. Habit number 3, fearing change and comfort zones. It's easy to fall into the trap of staying where we feel comfortable. After all, comfort feels safe, right? But here's the catch. When we fear change and refuse to step outside our comfort zones, we actually stop growing. We stagnate, and that fear of the unknown, It slowly chips away at our happiness, leaving us stuck in a cycle of unfulfilled potential. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In simple terms, what we fear most can actually be the very thing that pushes us forward. It's in embracing discomfort and change that we grow stronger and more resilient. Take Sarah, for example. She had been in the same job for over 10 years. It paid well, she knew the routine, and she felt safe. But over time, Sarah realized that the world around her was changing. New technologies were being introduced, and her industry was evolving, but she was too afraid to learn something new. The thought of leaving her comfort zone was terrifying. She told herself that it was easier to stay where she was, even though she felt unfulfilled. One day, a new project came up that required her to use a set of skills she didn't have. At first, Sarah hesitated. Why would she risk failure? But the reality hit her. Without taking this leap, she would be left behind, stuck in the past while everyone else moved forward. She decided to face the discomfort head-on, and though it was challenging, it opened up new opportunities for Sarah. She began to learn, adapt, and grow. Slowly, the fear she once had started to fade, replaced by excitement for the growth she was experiencing. This story highlights a key Stoic truth. Growth comes through discomfort. The Stoics teach us that avoiding change or fearing it only limits our potential. While it's natural to feel afraid of the unknown, staying in a place of comfort actually hinders our progress. Think about it. Every time you avoid a difficult conversation, a new challenge, or a change in your life, you're choosing stagnation. But if you can push through the discomfort, even just a little, you open the door to a world of new possibilities. Embrace change, even when it feels hard. Step outside your comfort zone. You don't have to do it all at once. Just start with small steps and watch how your life transforms. Remember, it's not about avoiding discomfort, it's about using it as fuel for growth. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the obstacles in our path are often the very things that help us become the person we're meant to be. So what change can you embrace today? What's standing in your way? Take that first step. You might be surprised at the strength you'll discover within yourself. Habit number 4, holding on to grudges. It's easy to hold on to anger, especially when someone we trust betrays us. That feeling of resentment can linger long after the event, becoming an invisible weight we carry with us, sometimes for years. But what most of us don't realize is that holding on to grudges doesn't hurt the other person, it hurts us. Take the story of Alex, for instance. Alex worked in a team with his colleague Mark for over 2 years. They collaborated on several projects and developed a solid working relationship, or so Alex thought. One day, Mark took credit for Alex's idea during a big presentation to the company's leadership. It was a small thing to Mark, but to Alex, it felt like a betrayal, and he wasn't quick to forgive. For weeks, Alex harbored anger toward Mark. He'd replay that moment over and over in his mind, imagining what he should have said or done differently. But the more Alex clung to that grudge, the more he noticed something strange. His own mental state began to suffer. At work, he felt anxious, distracted, and unable to fully focus on his tasks. Outside of work, he found it hard to be present with his family. The anger he held toward Mark wasn't just affecting his professional life. It was affecting his happiness, his peace, his relationships. Here's where Stoicism comes in. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." In other words, when we hold on to grudges and anger, we are only allowing ourselves to be controlled by the actions of others. Forgiveness is not for the other person. It's for you. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment. When Alex came across this quote, he began to reflect on his situation. He realized that the only person truly suffering was him. Holding on to the grudge meant that Mark still had control over his emotions, even though he wasn't even aware of it. Alex decided to take a different approach. He let go of the anger and instead focused on doing his best work, not to prove anything to Mark, but for his own growth. And the result? Alex felt lighter, more focused, and surprisingly, more compassionate toward Mark. Letting go doesn't mean condoning bad behavior, it simply means choosing peace over bitterness. The Stoics teach us that our peace of mind is the greatest treasure we have, and no one else should have the power to disturb it. Every time we hold on to a grudge, we give that power away. So how can you release a grudge today? Maybe there's someone in your life who hurt you, and the anger you're holding on to is only keeping you stuck in unhappiness. Remember, forgiveness is an act of strength, not weakness. It's not about the other person. It's about taking back control of your own happiness. If you can let go of the anger, you'll find that your mental peace, like Alex's, will return. It's a liberating feeling, one that's worth fighting for. Habit number 5. Trying to control everything. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if we just manage every little detail, we can ensure everything turns out the way we want. Whether it's how people behave, how our day unfolds, or even the smallest decisions, we often convince ourselves that if we control every aspect of our lives, we'll find happiness. But the truth is, trying to control everything, especially things beyond our power, leads to frustration, stress, and unhappiness. Take Sarah, for example. Sarah worked in a fast-paced marketing firm and prided herself on being detail-oriented. But her desire for control began to stretch beyond her work and into her personal life. She had strict expectations for her family, friends, and colleagues. She wanted her friends to respond to messages immediately, her colleagues to execute every task precisely how she imagined it, and even her partner to handle every situation the way she would. Every time things didn't go according to plan, Sarah became frustrated and her stress levels skyrocketed. She tried so hard to control everything that it started affecting her happiness. Instead of enjoying her relationships or finding peace in her work, she was constantly worried about what others were doing, feeling like she had to step in and fix things. But no matter how much she tried, there were always things beyond her control. Other people's choices, the weather, or unexpected challenges at work. That's when Sarah stumbled upon a Stoic quote by Marcus Aurelius. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It hit her. The problem wasn't that she wasn't trying hard enough, but that she was trying to control things that were completely out of her hands. The Stoics teach us that our true power lies in controlling only our own actions and responses, not the outcomes or actions of others. The constant need to control everything keeps us trapped in a cycle of anxiety and disappointment, because ultimately the world does not bend to our will. We can influence it, but we cannot control it entirely, and that's okay. Sarah began to shift her perspective. She focused on controlling her reactions instead of trying to micromanage every situation. When her friend didn't reply to a text immediately, instead of feeling rejected or frustrated, she accepted it and let it go. When things didn't go as planned at work, she learned to adjust her approach instead of forcing things to fit her ideal. Over time, Sarah realized that the more she let go of the need to control everything, the more peaceful and balanced her life became. So take a moment and reflect. What are you trying to control that's out of your hands? Are you spending mental energy on things you can't change, only to feel stressed and overwhelmed? Remember, the Stoic wisdom is clear. You cannot control everything, but you can control how you respond to the things that happen. And in that control, you'll find peace. Let go of the need to dominate every situation, and you'll discover that happiness lies in the freedom of accepting what is beyond your power. Habit number 6. Chasing perfection. We've all been there, obsessing over every little detail, striving for perfection in everything we do. Whether it's a project at work, the way we look, or even how we interact with others, the desire to achieve perfection can sometimes feel all-consuming. But here's the truth. Chasing perfection often leads to dissatisfaction, because perfection itself is unattainable. And no matter how close we get, there's always something more to improve. Take the case of Mark. Mark was a designer, highly regarded for his creative ideas. However, he was obsessed with making every design perfect. He would spend hours tweaking a single element, aligning fonts just right, adjusting colors by the slightest shade, making sure every line was flawless. At first, it seemed like a good habit, but over time, it became clear that Mark was never satisfied. Every new project felt incomplete, as he would continually tweak and rework things, never allowing himself to finish. And even when he thought he was done, he'd find something else to perfect, leaving him exhausted and frustrated. Mark's work was beautiful, but it was never truly finished. The pursuit of perfection held him back from moving forward, and it took a toll on his mental health. He began to feel like no matter how much effort he put in, he wasn't measuring up. The pressure of perfection made him question every decision and kept him stuck in an endless loop of revisions. Then, Mark remembered a Stoic lesson from Epictetus. Perfection is not a state, it's a process, and that process is endless. Mark realized that perfection was an illusion, something that would always slip further away, no matter how hard he tried to grab it. In that moment, he decided to shift his focus from perfection to progress. He began to accept that things don't need to be perfect to be good, and that sometimes the best work comes from embracing imperfection. This Stoic principle isn't just about work, it's about life. When we chase perfection, we forget to embrace the beauty of progress, of learning, and of growth. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." If we spend too much time chasing an ideal that doesn't exist, we end up wasting precious moments, stuck in a cycle of dissatisfaction. So ask yourself, where in your life are you chasing perfection? Whether it's your career, your relationships, or even your appearance, perfection isn't the goal. Progress, growth, and doing your best in the moment are far more important. Remember, perfection is a myth. The only thing that truly matters is making progress and learning along the way. Let go of the need to be perfect, and you'll find peace in the process. Habit number 7, excessive comparison to others. We've all done it. We scroll through social media, or we look at a colleague or friend, and suddenly we're measuring our success against theirs. The car they drive, the vacation they're on, the promotions they've received, it all seems to highlight what we're missing, and before we know it, we're feeling inadequate. But here's the catch. Constant comparison to others is a surefire way to breed unhappiness. Take Sarah, for example. Sarah was a talented writer, but no matter how much she accomplished, she couldn't shake the feeling that others were doing better. Her friend Lily, who had just landed a book deal, constantly shared her success on social media. Sarah, feeling left behind, couldn't help but measure her own progress against Lily's. She began to doubt her abilities, questioning whether she would ever get published, even though her writing was strong and her passion undeniable. The more Sarah compared herself to Lily, the more dissatisfied she became. She began to focus more on what others were doing right and less on her own journey. The result? She felt stuck. She was constantly chasing someone else's version of success instead of defining what success meant for her. Her happiness was dependent on someone else's path, an unfair and unreliable measure. The problem with comparison is simple. It takes us out of our own lives and focuses on someone else's. It keeps us in a cycle of dissatisfaction, as there will always be someone who seems to have more, do more, or achieve more. And that cycle, it's endless. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, put it perfectly when he said, Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. This powerful reminder teaches us that we should stop measuring our worth against others. We can't control what others achieve, but we can control how we react to our own path. So, let's ask ourselves, why do we constantly compare? What are we hoping to gain by measuring ourselves against someone else's success? The truth is, comparison doesn't make us better, it only robs us of our own peace of mind. Instead of comparing yourself to others, focus on your own journey. Recognize the progress you've made, celebrate your small wins, and remember that your path is unique. Comparison may seem harmless, but over time, it can erode your confidence and rob you of the joy that comes with self-acceptance. Think about it. What if, instead of comparing yourself to someone else, you embraced your own growth? What if you accepted that your success doesn't need to look like anyone else's? The key to peace and fulfillment lies not in what others have, but in what you're building for yourself. It's time to stop measuring your success against others. Focus on your own path, embrace your progress, and remember, you're exactly where you need to be. Here's a quick recap of everything we've covered. So, there you have it. 7 hidden habits that can keep us stuck in unhappiness, and how Stoicism offers us a powerful roadmap to break free from them. Whether we're holding on to grudges, trying to control everything, chasing perfection, or constantly comparing ourselves to others, these habits trap us in a cycle of frustration and dissatisfaction. But here's the good news. Each one of these habits is within our control to change. By letting go of grudges and choosing forgiveness, we free ourselves from the emotional weight of the past. By accepting that we can't control everything, we find the peace of mind that comes with focusing on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, our responses. By letting go of the obsession with perfection, we learn to appreciate our own progress and embrace imperfection as part of the human experience. And by focusing on our own path, instead of constantly comparing ourselves to others, we build the inner strength to live a life that's true to who we are. As we wrap up, remember that Stoicism isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about developing the emotional resilience to handle whatever life throws our way. It's about facing challenges with calm, clarity, and a steady mind. The true power lies in how we respond to life's uncertainties, not in controlling every outcome. We all have the ability to cultivate these habits and use them to build a more fulfilling, peaceful life. Think about how much lighter and more resilient you could feel if you let go of these hidden habits. What would happen if you started to embrace life as it comes, without the weight of comparisons or the burden of control? The tools Stoicism offers us are simple yet profound, and they can help you stay grounded no matter what's going on around you. I encourage you to take a moment and reflect on which of these habits resonates with you the most. Is it the need to control, the struggle with perfection, or perhaps the constant comparison? Once you recognize the habit that's holding you back, you can begin the process of breaking free, and as you do, you'll discover just how much more peace and resilience you can build in your life. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. Remember, it's not about avoiding challenges, it's about meeting them with wisdom and strength. Stay grounded and keep building that inner resilience. Now it's time to put these habits into practice. Remember, building resilience and emotional strength doesn't happen overnight. It's something you work on every single day. So, take a moment to reflect on the habits you're ready to challenge and start making small, intentional changes. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to give it a like and share it with someone who could benefit from a little Stoic wisdom. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and click that bell icon so you never miss out on future content that will help you live with more resilience, purpose, and wisdom. Until next time, stay strong, keep growing, and embrace the journey. You've got this.